the biggest one, at least the one that really shifted my life, was coming to America in 1993. To have 17 years of my existence in the Congo, where I looked like everybody. I spoke French, Swahili, Lingala, and Chiluba, and I blended very well. And then 3 airplane rides later, I am in Ashland, Oregon, of all places.
I'm
Right?
laughing because Ashland is where I grew up, and I'm very familiar with that town. My parents are still there.
Oh yes, oh yes.
And of
Shakespeare
course
town.
you and I were in the same class, so I'll let people in on that detail.
Absolutely, absolutely. So that was a culture shock, to say the least, um, to find myself in this place in Southern Oregon, where I stood out for challenging reasons. Let me put it that way, um, and uh, and had to adjust, learn a new language, find myself a junior at Ashland High School, meeting people that looked different than me, sounded different than me, and came from a different background, and trying to learn the language and do well in school. Sports was helpful, playing soccer and playing basketball, because those are all universal sports. Everyone can always chase a ball. So that brings you closer a lot faster. So made a lot of good friends then. But some of the early challenges, being Black in Ashland, Oregon, definitely um, brought a heightened awareness of the realities that happen here for not only Black people, but people of color. And therefore, I saw just how um, how significant my dad was in my life, because he worked so hard to instill in me a sense of self-reliance, self-love, self-awareness that would help me go through a lot of my early challenges in the US. Because when you come to America, you have a dream, right? You have this ambitious goal, and you're coming here to take your life to another level, to accomplish as much as you possibly can. And you get so caught up in that idealism that you forget the price that comes with it. And so that was a cold bucket of water that I got. But it was definitely my biggest shift in my life so far, coming here, for sure.
So, will you do you remember any specific moments from that year that you, because like I remember, and I share this with you on the phone when we talked, but I remember one specific moment. It's possible it's the only conversation that we had the entire time that you were in school, because I was a nerd who was in band and I didn't do sports stuff. So so, like our circles didn't really cross, but we were in the same class.
Yes.
And I remember running into you at a locker and just sort of recognizing the reality that it must be a giant weirdness, I think was probably how I would have phrased that. um, to be dropped in the middle, because it wasn't the beginning of the school year either. It was like in the
Right.
middle of the school year. And to try and meet a bunch of new people, literally coming from another country. And my vague memory of that conversation is, one, that it was brief, and two, that you were like, you have no idea how weird it is.
Yeah, for sure. I think just making friends, working hard to learn the language. And I got a job. I got my first job at Albertsons, a grocery store, out, Tolman Creek, Siskiyou Boulevard area there. And I was super happy to be able to contribute and help my family. And so I was bagging groceries. Paper or plastic is what I said all day. and walk people to their cars if they had, too many things, and so on. And then about, I don't know, a couple months into it, it's around 3 in the afternoon. I leave my apartment and I'm walking over to Albertsons, and I got my polo shirt, with my name tag, tucked in my black jeans, and I see four police cars coming full speed, and I'm super excited about it because I'm naive. I'm thinking I'm going to see some action, something out of a movie. And so I'm just standing by the side of the road, like, uh-oh, what's about to happen? And the first car pulls in front of me, the second, the third, and the fourth. And one police officer draw his gun, and
Oh my God.
I completely freeze, and my heart is beating outside of my chest. My arms are in the air, my hands are in the air, my legs turn into noodles, and you literally are asking yourself, is this it? And this is barely 2 months into coming to America. And I stood there and I'm not moving, just looking at him. And the police officer starts walking towards me. And one of the things he said was, "We're not stopping you because you're black." Like, I mean, unsolicited comment for sure. And at that point, I could care less. I'm like, I just want to know if I'm going to live or not. That's my biggest concern. And long story short, there was a lady that, I don't know, her purse got stolen, and I guess I fit the description according to what was shared. That was my welcome to America on the negative side, not on the positive side, for sure.
Holy crap. That's uh so that's the first time I've heard that.
Absolutely.
And knowing what I know about the area, it's not surprising. It's disappointing. Southern Oregon has I always call it a rich racist history, which is a cute way of saying seat of the Ku Klux Klan.
Mm.
And probably shouldn't have a cute way of saying that, but it's so tension filled. It's like growing up, I always wanted to diffuse that kind of thing. But that somebody would say that you fit a description in Ashland, Oregon is pure fiction. Because
Right.
literally, we had two black kids at the high school. One of them graduated, and then you transferred from Africa, keeping our ratio exactly the same. So it's like that you would fit a description is totally BS. That's upsetting. And I can't imagine, like, hello, welcome to America. That's bonkers.
Well, I mean, I grew up with a Ubuntu philosophy. Ubuntu is spelled Ubuntu, and it's our common humanity, our interdependence. So, what's wrong with Ashland? I am. What's right
Huh.
with Ashland? I am. So, therefore, it's the full human spectrum. I experienced it all. I had amazing experiences in Ashland, Oregon. Met amazing people. I'm talking to one of them, and so
Well,
it's
thank you.
it's it's the story of life. And so my job is to amplify the good and work my tail off to mitigate the unfortunate side of humanity. And so that's you take that in context. You don't let such an experience paint a picture for the entire region. I mean, I've had all sorts of stories. I mean, remember, we had to get on these buses to go play games, to places like Roseburg,
Oh,
Grants
right.
Pass,
Good Lord.
Klamath Falls. I mean, so I have stories for days, but in a way, in a
Right,
way,
because compared to those other towns, Ashland is the liberal town amongst that collection of names of towns. And so, in terms
absolutely.
of open arms, you would have experienced theoretically a lot more of them at home.
Yeah, well, it's a tapestry. This is life, and we're able to navigate both quite well.
That's a beautiful way of describing that. How did you process that moment? How did you get, I mean, so you're 2 months in, it'd be very easy to jump to a conclusion about an entire town from a singular experience, which it sounds like there were more later.
Mhm.
How do you digest that?
Listen, my silver bullet answer to everything is Ubuntu. I mean, that's it. I don't
Okay,
have
all
any other
right.
answer. So it's all my dad helping me understand this. Before I even came to America, I was already prepared.
Oh,
And
okay.
in a
Interesting.
way, you understand how people are, how life is, how life works, power structure, people who amplify division and difference. And so you knew that you were going to stand out, and that's going to create positive and negative experiences. But you don't lose your humanity in the process. So after that incident, I went in and I asked for just a little break to gather myself. And my manager gave me that. And then later on, I told my dad about it, and we talked it out. And then we made a trip down to the police station the next day to talk to the police chief about the incident and how unfortunate it was. And I have a standard letter that's in a shoebox upstairs somewhere from that incident.
My goodness.